Hello and welcome to Downtime Podcast, episode 163. Today, I have a very special guest. My brother Jordan is back on the podcast. Welcome back.
Hey, I'm back.
So this is going to be a month of special guests because Alyssa is out on a shoot in Philadelphia, which she kind of mentioned in a previous podcast. Maybe she'll be able to tell us in a year or two, maybe 2 years. Don't know.
Mystery.
Yeah, I'm thinking Indiana Jones. That's my hope.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Lucasfilm, so.
Yeah.
What
do you think?
I mean, it could just be another Star Wars project, but
okay.
Yeah, it has to be one of those. I don't think it's a new IP. I don't think that Lucasfilm is going to make a new IP at this point. Unless it's what, Willow?
Willow.
So it's one of those three.
Yeah. I it's got to be or a sequel to the Tuskegee Airmen. I don't know. They made that movie.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Why not?
All right. So today we're going to be talking about stuff that we're playing, a little bit of news, and then we got some comments and questions from the community. So
nice.
Since it's been a while since you've been on here, tell us what you've been playing. Because I think the last time you talked about games that you were playing Destiny and Hearthstone, and I don't remember the third one.
Yeah. Lately, it's mostly going back to games that I used to play. So that are like revisiting games I used to play. Most of them multiplayer. So, went back a little bit to No Man's Sky. They've had a couple updates. You can get a pet now.
Oh, okay.
And your pet will like do stuff for you. Like, there's restrictions on what types of animals you can claim as your pet, but a lot of the randomly generated animals you can claim as a pet, and it'll like follow you around. You can put like equipment on it, or it's mostly cosmetic. But like one of my pets is like this little squishy looking frog thing that's really, really tiny and it just follows me around. And another one's like this giant crab that I put like guns on.
Wait, can they die? Can your pets die?
No.
Okay.
Wait, actually, yeah, they can get attacked. I think so. Or yeah, they can get hurt. But if you're in a space station or something, they'll show up on multiplayer, and so people can see your pets walking around. But like if they're giant, then it shrinks them down in the space station, so they're not like, you don't see like giant things walking around blocking the scenery.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and they had some expedition mode, which is not all that great. It's kind of just like you're replaying the game, but some stuff is set up for you. Like it's easier, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I haven't really fully explored it, but it's like designed for multiplayer. It's sort of like a seasonal thing, like a lot of games are doing now, where like there's a season and then you play throughout the season and unlock like seasonal rewards or whatever.
Yeah.
So is that, but. Other than that, I've gone back to Heroes of the Storm, which is the MOBA by Blizzard.
Oh, I didn't know you started playing that. Wow.
Yeah, I used to play it a lot in college with some of my friends, and then we took a break for a long time, and then we recently got back into it, and it's pretty fun as MOBAs go. Like, I've never played League, I've never played Dota. I have no intention to, just because I know that those are a lot harder, or there's a lot more to learn, and there's a higher there's a higher learning curve. Whereas HOTS is seen as like the baby MOBA, I guess.
Entry level.
Yeah, but it's honestly I like it. Like, it's from what I know from like League and Dota. In HOTS there's no last hitting, so everyone shares XP. You don't have to buy items. It's just every time you level up, and your whole team always levels up at the same time. So every time you level up, you pick like a new skill, like a passive or an active skill.
Yeah.
And you just slowly build those. And there's like side objectives, so it's not just about destroying towers and destroying the core. Obviously that's what the final objective in order to win, but there's also like bosses you can capture. There's like these in some maps there's like nukes you have to get. There's one map where you have to collect a bunch of coins and you give it to a pirate and he like barrages the enemy base with cannonballs. So there's a lot more variety. There's one where you can like turn into a dragon. Like you have to capture 2 shrines, and then one of your teammates has to go in the middle and touch the shrine, and they become a dragon, and then you attack the enemy base. So there's like a lot of variety. It's really fun. It's really cool.
Okay.
And if you're really into the Blizzard games like Overwatch, StarCraft, Warcraft, they have a lot of the characters from those games in HOTS, because it's like they're it's like a MOBA Smash Bros, but for Blizzard characters.
I was like Ready Player One.
Yeah, so yeah, they have a bunch
Okay.
of that. So it's fun, it's cool, it's got a nice aesthetic. So again, I'm not really into MOBAs. This is the only MOBA I play, but
Sure.
I like it. It's straightforward enough.
Okay.
And other than that, played a little bit of Outriders, which is a new game that came out. I only played the demo, but the demo it's pretty it's pretty inclusive in terms of content. Like it's not just like a tutorial. Like
Right.
they go through some of the intro missions. They introduce you to the storyline, to all the characters, the loot system, the mechanics. You got to fight a boss. It's like a good. I didn't even finish the demo, but it's like a good like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours
wow.
worth of content if you do all of it.
Okay.
And it's just like, yeah, it's pretty fun. And then I don't know if I'm gonna get the game. Maybe at some point. It's just it's a looter shooter, so it's one of those games where it's you gotta grind and
It's like Destiny.
Yeah, it's basically like Destiny.
Yeah.
Except there's no PvP. It's all PvE. Because I know Destiny has like a big PvP scene, but Outriders it's clearly designed to be PvE only.
Right.
And but it's similar to Destiny. It takes place in space. You got special powers.
Right.
And yeah, like you pick different classes that do different things based around different elements, whatever. So yeah, it's similar-ish to Destiny, but it plays more like Gears of War because it's made by the people who develop Gears of War. So it's like third-person cover shooter, big bulky characters with huge guns, and
everyone's buff.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It's edgy, but it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Edgy? What way? What do you mean edgy?
There's like a lot of there's like I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, like there's some characters who are like the dark brooding badass characters.
I see.
And there's like some characters who like there's this one character who's like this innocent sweet character when you first meet them, and then like fast forward like 10 years later and they're missing an eye and they're like the badass leader of this group of like rebels. And
it's very anime.
It seems very anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's interesting. I might play it at some point, but I don't have the time right now. And the game I've been playing a lot lately is Apex. I noticed that you've been playing that too. Okay,
I'll talk about that.
Me and my friends went back to it because we've been playing a lot of Warzone, and we got kind of tired because Warzone kept kind of being the same thing over and over again. And there's some certain things about Warzone we don't like, but obviously some things that we really like. So we decided to go back to Apex because I'll just say it's easier to win at Apex because there's less people. In Warzone, there's 150 people.
Yeah.
And there's so many mechanics to pay attention to. There's guns you have to unlock. You have to get the right attachments for those guns.
Oh my
which means you have to play the game a lot. Whereas in Apex, you just have to be skilled at the characters.
And
yeah, like you can in Apex. There's certain things you have to unlock gameplay wise, like the characters, the champions, or the legends, I guess they're called. But all the ones that are meta that are really strong are the free ones. I noticed like Bloodhound is in every like me and my friends we play ranked. And there's a Bloodhound on every team, every enemy team, every encounter is always a Bloodhound. And I used to be a Bloodhound main before he even got buffed, but I feel like his buff is just too strong. Right. It's just way too strong. And I honestly hope they nerf him.
So for those that are listening, Bloodhound is a character that produces a sonar range that detects where enemies are.
He has wall hacks, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
He shoots out this scanning beam, and it gives you wall hacks for a couple seconds.
Right.
But that is enough to just like have a huge advantage over the enemy team.
And then if you ult, you get your wall hacks faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
And it's like it has a huge range. Like you can see so far away.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's like that's
so OP.
You don't even need any power ups for these.
Yeah,
like,
so every
skills.
team uses them. At least any team that's like playing try hard uses them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so me and my friends we try not to play him that all. Like sometimes I'll play him. Like, but I don't want to play a character that I feel like I have to play because they're good, Yeah. Like sometimes we play Lifeline. Lifeline's pretty meta too because she has the combat revive.
Yeah.
But sometimes we also play like the more fun characters, but it's just like harder. It makes it harder to win just because they're situational.
Yeah, and you spam the same characters all the time, so like, you get good at them, and so do the other people, and they just you're putting yourself up against the people that are using the exact same things, and that's it. Like there are other people that can jump high or fly, and there's like grenade barrages and stuff, and those are useful, but like they don't beat wall hacks.
Yeah. Like one of my friends, he plays Rampart. Yeah. And nobody plays Rampart. I've only ever seen like another enemy Rampart like out of like 100 games, maybe like 5 times.
What does Rampart do? I never played.
She builds up. She has these walls. Like she builds up like a barrier, a wall, which sounds pretty good. And her ult is like she pulls out a turret. Like she pulls out a turret, like a mounted turret, and she can shoot from it, which sounds really badass.
Right.
But it's super situational because it's one of those. She's one of the defensive characters where you have to hunker down and you defend yourself like in a building or whatever. But it's like most of the game involves a lot of movement, like moving from place to place. So it's just not that useful, So if anything, Caustic is more useful just because he can just throw his stuff down and walk away, and it's more offensive because like if people run into it, they get hurt. But his Rampart's just you put up a wall that blocks people's path, but they can just blow it up.
Right.
So I don't know. She's honestly not that good, in my opinion. I hope that they buff her to make her more viable. I've been playing a lot of Fuse, the new character, because I think he's fun, but he's also situational because he's very reliant on having grenades. And if you don't have the grenades, then his abilities are kind of just okay.
And you need room in your inventory to save for grenades, but you also have to worry about ammo and attachments.
Yeah,
and,
you have to have a good backpack.
Yeah.
Even though he has double the grenades, you still need a decent amount of grenades. But he's really fun because he can shoot grenades so far, like across the freaking map. And if you have arc stars, it's really easy to peg people with the arc stars because you just aim at them and it shoots really fast and straight. So you just peg people with arc stars, and that's always fun. His ult is also kind of situational. Like you have to drop it on a person or like around an area that it's one of those ults that like you need a high ceiling or no ceiling. Like it's really hard to use indoors. But I mean, you could say that about like Bangalore or Gibraltar, who have like the airstrike ults.
Or Lifeline, whose ult requires.
Yeah, Lifeline's ult is not great, to be honest. Yeah, like it's very RNG based. You're only ever going to use it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think she's really strong as a champion or a legend, anyways.
Yes.
So it's fine.
That healing is OP.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, the healing drone. You can just survive in the ring in the first few rings.
Yeah.
And her combat res with the shield is really strong, and she's also a small character, so she's hard to hit. So I think it's fine that she has a sucky ult. But some characters, it's just like their ults kind of suck and their abilities are just okay. And I don't know. It's just I've been playing Revenant too, and he's okay too. But again, he's not like meta. Like his silence can be pretty powerful, but you have to land it. And his ult is all right. It's like he puts down a totem that if you die, you respawn at the totem, but you can only use it once. Mm-hmm. So it's like good for rushing people. But if the people you're fighting against are pretty good shots, then you're just gonna die and respawn, and it's kind of wasted.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ones I see the most are Bloodhound, Lifeline, Wraith, and Pathfinder. And that might be because they're free, but also the fact that they're really good, which I guess it's good that the free characters are meta, or the free characters are the good characters. But still, I just kind of wish that they buffed some of the new characters because they're just kind of whatever. Oh, well, Horizon is probably one of the new characters that's used a lot just because she has the ability to launch people up, and that can be used to disorient enemies, or it can be used to take your team to a higher location, which one of my friends pointed out, she is the only character where that's not her ultimate, it's just her tactical ability. Whereas like, let's say Octane, he has a jump pad that his team can use, or Pathfinder, he has a zip line that his team can use, but those are all ultimates. So they have to wait a long time to charge those.
Right.
Whereas Horizon, hers is just a tactical ability. It's not even her ultimate. So she has the ability to get her team up to places without you having to use an ult. So it's kind of OP, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like I see her used a lot just because of that. So
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, that's who I've been playing. What about you?
Oh my god. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit here. So a long time ago, you mentioned to me that on this podcast as well that you started playing Apex.
Yeah.
And, when it first came out in 2019, I was like kind of turned off because we played so much PUBG Mobile together with our cousins. And, there was this rush I had, and there was so much adrenaline pumping in me when I played it. And, we kind of fell off. It was natural, like the game just kind of like it grew, like there was a new map and stuff, but I don't know. It wasn't the same as it was before. And I don't know. I think our cousins and us kind of just stopped playing it because we found other games,
Yeah.
That being said, I kind of still wanted to play a battle royale, but I also didn't want to play PUBG Mobile, and I tried other ones. There was that free one, I forget what it was called, it was like a mobile game, but also a desktop game. It was like made by some Chinese company. That's very vague because there's a lot of battle royales like that. So I played that. That was okay. I only played it for like a couple hours, and I was like, no, this isn't for me. So fast forward to 2 days ago when my friends are like, "Hey, you should try Apex." I was like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, we're all starting. We all suck." And I was like, "All right, I guess I'll start." You guys, well, it turns out one of my friends, he's not starting. He's been playing for a little bit because he's like level 30, and I'm just like lowly little level 2 or level 1 now.
Yeah,
or not even level 1 before, and I'm like level 10 now. But so it was myself, another friend who were just starting out that day, and then like our veteran player. We're all terrible at the game, right? So my first match, I didn't have a gun. I was like searching around. I was like, I don't know where to get the guns because I just wanted to go in head first and not really think about what to play or like where to get things from. I knew the basic controls because it's similar to Titanfall in a way. That being also a side note, Apex Legends is part of the Titanfall universe. It's a spin-off game. It's a battle royale game. I know I already mentioned that, but I run. I don't have a gun, right? I see an enemy. They're running right at me. They're shooting at me. I start punching them, and then I knock them. They're down. I'm like, yo, let's go. And then some dude shoots me. I get knocked down. And then my teammate comes up, knocks that person that knocked me down, shoots the person in front of me, and then shoots me until I'm dead. And then someone shoots them, and then they died. Then they died. And then my other dude's like, yo, wait, you can't do that. That's Jeremy. What are you doing? So he unloaded everything in my butt. I was like, dude. And we had a good laugh. So my first game ever was me being team killed by my own teammate.
Yeah.
And then, and so since then, I don't know. I've had this rush about the game. I'm really liking it so far.
Yeah. So it's kind of good that you didn't play when it first came out because it was just plagued with like optimization and crashing issues. Like, it would just crash.
I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Like me and my friends, we loved that game and we were decent at it, at least when it first came out. Like we would get a couple wins our goal was to try to get one win per night. Like we would play until we got one win per night.
Oh my god.
But like it would crash all the time, and it would just sucked because like you're just in the middle of a game, you're about to win, or like you're close to winning, you're one of the last 3 teams, and then one of you disconnects, and then you can't rejoin, and then I think now they added rejoining. Like if you disconnect, it'll reconnect you
that's good.
to the game as long as you're not dead. But back then it was just like you disconnect, you're gone. Now you're just down a man, and it's just like it sucked.
Wow.
And I haven't had a crash since playing recently now, so that's good. But it does feel a lot harder because there's like a bunch of new guns, and there's new characters, and there's a new map they added, and some new mechanics. They changed some things, and like there's a new armor system too, technically. It's there's just kind of a learning curve to have to learn everything all over again. And if you play ranked late at night, like me and my friends do, it's very sweaty. Like everyone's trying. There's a bloodhound on every team. Yeah. Everybody's using all the meta weapons, and it's just like I'm just trying to have fun here.
Yeah.
It's like when me and my friends we play the normal quick play mode, we actually feel like we can win. We either get in top 10 or sometimes we'll get wins like not too far apart from each other. When we play ranked, we'll die in like the first 5 minutes, like constantly, just because we'll drop in and there'll be like 3 other teams, and we'll be able to take out a team, but then someone jumps on top of us, and there's just nothing we can do, and it's just like fuck, like I don't even know what to do. Like sometimes they'll be like, oh, let's land here. No one, like this is kind of a boring spot. No one will land here. Yeah. And immediately there's like 3 teams. And I'm like, what do we do? Like, what are we supposed to do in this situation? Like all I got is a Mozambique. Like, And so it's just like it's just some of it's RNG. Yes. Like we used to go a lot for the hot zone. But the hot zone is very RNG. It's like even if you're good, you have to get lucky and get a good gun or get armor. Because if someone of like equal skill level, around the same skill level as you, has a gun and armor, obviously they're gonna beat you because that's the kind of game it is. It's
sure.
In something like Warzone, everyone has the same amount of armor, right? So it's kind of just depending on what guns you have, and that's for the most part, there's a lot of different viable guns. Sure. But like everyone has the same amount of health and armor, so you can, if you're equal skill, it's kind of just who gets the better shots, right? Whereas in Apex, you could be really good, but if you have like, the white armor and someone has like purple armor, then they have a better chance at beating you. So there's that mechanic of it that makes it a lot more challenging than like, or not challenging, but different from other battle royales. Is like there's there's the armor mechanics of it, and then it's just like you have to be good at knowing how to use certain guns. Like I am not good at sniping at all, but I if you put a shotgun in my hands, then I'll blow people away. But like I cannot do long range, but close range, I prefer close range weapons.
I'm the designated sniper on my team.
Nice,
like anytime I find like a triple what is it called? Triple
Triple
take?
take?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my preferred one. And
Nice.
I usually run like with light ammo or heavy ammo, and then with sniper. So whenever my teammates find a sniper, they're like, "Oh, this is for you." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So it's good to have someone that can do long range, And I kind of just
definitely.
seated myself as that person because it's good to like look really far away and like start picking off people from like where we are. The one thing I like about Apex is the ping system. I think that's really cool.
like other games have it now, but I'm pretty sure Apex introduced it.
Yeah, they
they're the
defined
ones-
it. Yeah.
And they were the first battle royale to introduce a revive system.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Because like other battle royales like PUBG and Fortnite, the two main ones at the time, it was like you die, that's it, you're done. So like, what's the point of even staying in the game? You know, like you just watch your friend or random just keep playing. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Whereas Apex, it was like you can actually come back. And I remember like when we first started playing, that was really common for us to, two people would die, but the third person would grab our banners and resurrect us, and it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Now I find that that's harder, just because teams are better about like completely killing everyone.
Yes.
So it's very rare. Only like 1 out of every 10 games, maybe we'll get a single revive, or if anything. But yeah, it's a lot harder to revive people. And playing Warzone, I actually like the way that Warzone does it, where it's like you buy people back, so you earn money throughout the game in Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
And if your teammates die, then you just go to a revive station or buy station, and you just buy them back. You don't have to like walk up to their body and grab something, because people will just camp their bodies,
right.
which people do. And there's no time limit like in Apex, where you have to get their body within like a minute or so, otherwise they're just gone forever. So I kind of like the revive system in Warzone, but I guess it makes more sense for Warzone because it's a bigger play field. There's 150 people,
right?
Whereas in Apex it's smaller, so the revives should be harder. But yeah, I don't know. The revive system, it's really hard to revive people, because I notice a lot of people just camp bodies, and it's just annoying. It just like, there is a revive system, but it's just hard to pull off sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So my friends and I are downloading Call of Duty at Warzone as we speak, because we just want to try it out. So thank you for the tips. We're probably gonna hate it, because we all hate Apex. We like playing it, but we hate the game.
Yeah, me and my friends, we have a love-hate relationship with Apex.
Yes.
Like it can be so frustrating sometimes, where it's just like you land and you just don't have the loot, and you just immediately get shot because you just don't have the gun. Or like you do have a gun, and then 2 people just beat you to death, and you just like, can't do anything. Or you down you down some people, and then a third party just comes in. And I think in Warzone, because the map is bigger, getting third party is less common, I would say. But one thing about Warzone versus Apex is, and maybe you'll like this, is sniping is much more common in Warzone, just because it is a huge map, and there's 150 people,
right?
So there's a lot of sniping. But what's interesting about Warzone is they have sniper glint. So if someone is scoping you, you'll see like a sparkle in the distance, like a glint in the distance, so you'll know that you're getting aimed at. Whereas in like Apex, someone could shoot you out of nowhere. But at least, again, this is sort of a difference thing, not necessarily better or worse. In Apex, I think there's only one gun that can one-shot you, which is the Kraber.
Yeah.
With a headshot. It has to be a headshot, and it's only the Kraber. Whereas in Warzone, there's a couple of weapons that could probably kill you like in less than a second, right? Like the time to kill is much faster in Warzone, so that's another thing to be like wary about. Like the TTK is really, really fast. But there's vehicles. I mean, there's vehicles in Apex too, but they're not really. They're
not cool. They're not cool vehicles.
Yeah. Whereas in Warzone, vehicles there's much more prominent. Like there's a big armored truck you can drive. There's like Jeeps you can drive. There's ATVs. There's helicopters.
Yeah.
There's a train that you can't drive, but you can ride on it.
Okay.
It goes around the map. That's kind of fun, because there's like a bunch of legendary chests on the train. So some people will, how in Apex there's that one map with like the moving ship, and you can jump on that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but in Warzone it's a train, and and you can fly around the helicopters. You can crash. You can jump out of the helicopter and land it on people. Like you fly the helicopter towards someone, and everyone bails out, and you use the helicopter as like a missile, and you crash.
That's so cool.
So you can do that. And there's like all these fun game modes in Warzone. Like they haven't brought it back yet, but I don't know what it's called. But what me and my friends refer to it as battle trucks. So it's like every team has a truck, and the circle moves really, really fast. So you have to be in the truck. You can't just walk around on foot. At least when the circle's in between circles. And you drive around the map, and you can keep respawning as long as your truck is alive.
Oh wow!
So you're supposed to protect your truck, and it's just a normal game of Warzone is like people sneaking around. Obviously, you have people who run and gun and jump around, hop everywhere. But then a lot of people, it's like, sneaking around, sniping, going from building to building. Whereas the battle trucks mode is like just fast and furious. People driving into each other, LMGs and rocket launchers everywhere. It's insane.
High intensity gameplay.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. It's awesome. But I haven't seen them bring that mode back, but I hope they do because it's amazing.
Sounds like it's got to be a permanent thing. Like, I
don't know. We'll see. And then there's like a mode called Blood Money or Plunder, where it's like it's more it's not a battle royale. It's more of like you go around the map and you collect money, and the goal is to collect the most money. You keep respawning every time you die, but but you lose money when you die. So the goal is to like collect as much money as possible. That one's just a good way to level up your weapons. So if you don't plan on buying Call of Duty, if you just want to play the free Warzone, then I recommend playing Plunder / Blood Money or whatever it's called now, to just level up your weapons, because that's the best way to just get XP if you're a free player.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that for sure. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the tip. To answer your original question, though, I started as Bloodhound in Apex, and then I switched over to Lifeline, and that's kind of who I'm switching between right now. I kind of want to try other characters, but because my other teammates, one plays as Loba, the other one plays because of the black market stuff, which is really helpful. I
have a friend who's a Loba main, and it's super helpful. But I don't see that many enemy players play her, though.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It's very useful because you don't have to go through the replicator, which is nice.
And it's safe. Like if you're in an area that you think is dangerous, you just put it down. You can grab whatever you want.
Exactly. So Loba, the other one plays as Wraith, or they're trying, like literally earlier, like 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, we were playing a game, and he was playing as Fuse. So he's trying out Fuse, but he mostly plays as the robot dude. I forget his name.
Pathfinder?
Yeah. Pathfinder. Okay, swear to God, 45 minutes ago, we just won a game together, and this is what happened. So we didn't find any action throughout the entire thing. Because sometimes that's just how battle royales work.
Yeah, I've had the games like that.
We become the last team without seeing anybody. We dropped at Hammond Labs and we just went all the way to Bonsai. We're like, all right, cool, and then the ring closed around us, so we got kind of lucky there. So we found a replicator, started getting our stuff, and oh shoot, they're here. So we turn around, they're guns blazing at us. We're like shooting back at them. I knock one, the other two knock the other two. But then one self-revives, she gets up and starts fighting again. And it's just me and her, and my other teammate's reloading. She's reloading. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I just start meleeing her and I knock her, right? And then the other two are about to self-revive and we shoot them and then we win. I'm like, yo, let's go.
Nice.
My favorite thing to do is to melee people, because there's that awkward moment when you're shooting at each other and you're both reloading. I'm like, you know what? I could just go in there and do something about it. Yeah. So I like to run in there while they're reloading and just start punching them. And then usually most of the time, I get a knock and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. As long as you break their shield, you can down them with a couple punches.
Yeah. It's great. So that's my favorite thing now is Lifeline. I just run in there, I start punching them, and then start healing in front of them.
Nice. Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So I'm getting that rush again for experiencing battle royales, and again I'm downloading Call of Duty Warzone. So
let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I will come to you for advice if I need help with anything, and maybe I'll see you in Apex. Maybe we'll be fighting each other.
We'll see.
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So those two are what I'm playing, or I'm about to play Warzone, but I'm playing Apex now. Kind of fallen off of Dead by Daylight for now. I always talk about this game. This is a staple of mine, and I played it for like a year and a half every day, like nonstop. And I don't know, I feel fatigued. You know when you feel fatigued when you're playing a game?
Yeah, that's how I am with Destiny. Yeah. Like I've played Destiny for almost 2 years now, maybe. And it's just, I don't know. It was really fun in the beginning, and it's had its bursts of joy. But like this latest season of Destiny, there's just nothing that it offers me. I had some friends who played. And they played for like 2 weeks, and then they were just like, all right, we got everything we wanted out of this. And the seasons usually last like 3 months. So it's just and so like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling the Destiny 2 fatigue. I might come back to it when the new raid comes out, or it's technically an old raid from Destiny, Destiny 1, but I never played Destiny 1, so I don't.
It's a new raid to you.
Yeah, so it's new to me. But so I'll probably play it when the raid comes out, but otherwise, like, I'm just burnt out on Destiny.
Yeah, no, I feel it. And, sometimes it's going to take a break for a long time and come back to it and be like, oh, wow. Yeah. So for Dead by Daylight, they released an update where they like changed the way the UI looks. They added graphical updates. They changed the way that your character moves. Like animations are different, a lot more fluid. So like when you flashlight somebody, the camera will actually look like a third-person shooter, so it's a little bit more accurate.
Okay.
But that's kind of thrown off a lot of people because they're used to the old way of flashlighting killers. So they have to adjust to where to point the flashlight now and for how long, stuff like that.
Is there a reason why they made all these changes?
So, Dead by Daylight's been out since 2016.
Yeah.
And by this time, they would have had at least a sequel, right?
Yeah.
So they're a rare developer where they just keep updating the current game. So they're doing graphical updates, UI updates, and animation updates just to keep it fresh. Adding new things, the ability to add new characters. I'm also assuming that because the game's code is old and a lot of the original coders left, they kind of have to like look through the spaghetti code, decipher what's going on, because every time they push an update out, there's always something that's broken and no one knows why. So I think it's a lot of the developers just like figuring out the code or modifying the code and making it better for future releases. That being said, in June, they're doing a collaboration with Resident Evil for the 25th anniversary.
Oh.
So there's going to be a Dead by Daylight Resident Evil crossover.
So is there? Well, who's the killer then?
No one knows. It's all up in the
Mr.
air.
X is going to be Nemesis.
It could be Lady something, the big lady that everyone wants to be stepped on.
That would be interesting if they made her the killer.
It would be servicing a lot of fans if they did that. Dimitrescu, something like that. I forget her name. But Resident Evil 8 looks cool. The demo came out. I didn't play it. I watched a friend play it, and I mean, the demo was fun. There's a lot of like walking, like looking around, and like there's a small combat part, but other than that, it kind of just ends because it's a 30-minute demo. And then apparently they're going to be releasing another part of the demo next week or a week after, as of the recording of this podcast. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to play it. I already have it downloaded on the PS4, but
did you play 7?
I didn't beat it. I need to beat 7. I'm like halfway through 7, and 7 was cool though.
Yeah,
7 was awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's a different take on the game. Like it's first person and all that.
Right, and it's the 8 has the same character as 7. It's the same protagonist.
Yeah, but they also have like a Chris Redfield.
Right.
Who apparently looks really different from he did in 7. Like looks like a completely different character.
Yeah, it's like they changed the actor. I don't know why.
Like that.
But yeah, so he's there. He's like a main supporting character. I don't know what his role is exactly, but so he plays the original guy, Ethan Winters. Interesting name. He's just a dude. Like literally in 7, they're like, okay, we're not gonna have Ethan talk too much because we want the player to imprint themselves on this character, which worked, right? Because it feels like you're actually there. But now in 8, they're like, we want to give Ethan like more lines. We want to develop his character more. So now he's more than just a faceless character. Because if you look at the key art for Ethan Winters, it's just like a dude's body with like his face is all like blacked out because it's supposed to signify, oh, you are Ethan Winters, you know?
Yeah.
But now they're slowly introducing what he's gonna look like, maybe, and what his character is, what his motivations are. So 8 apparently is like Chris Redfield like kidnaps Ethan Winters and takes him to some European village. He's like, go help me. It's like, what the?
I'm curious what's going on there because the Resident Evil game has like a crazy storyline.
Yeah, but, so it's about like viruses, right? It's about pharmaceutical companies.
But 4 was more about like parasites, so I don't know. It changes,
but it still came from a virus.
Yeah,
and 8 looks a lot more like Van Helsing inspired than it does science fiction, which is going to be interesting to look at because you have a giant tall lady who's apparently a mutant, which makes sense in a medicine perspective. You have this like huge fat dude who's like he's called the Duke, and he like sells weapons. And I'm like, okay, this is the very like cartoonish, like if you think about it, like it's cartoony, but like it's not because it's supposed to be aesthetically different.
Yeah.
And then I'm excited for those games to come out. I mean for Resident Evil 8 to come out and the DLC for Dead by Daylight, because I think it's gonna be cool. Maybe in June I'll hop back on. I think I'm gonna take a long break until June and then just be like, all right, cool, we're gonna start playing some Dead by Daylight again because it looks fun. Yeah, with the new characters. Yeah,
there's a lot of games that I personally will eventually go back to. Like Path of Exile was one I played. I have like over 1,000 hours on that game. Yeah, and it's like I felt kind of burnt out on it for a while, and then I went back and my friends played for a little bit for Heist League, which was like the beginning of this year, and then then a new league came out, and we were just like, we're just gonna wait. So I'm just waiting for Path of Exile 2 to come out. But yeah, like there's a lot of games that are in the backlog or like are eventually gonna return to.
Yeah. No, I feel it. Other than that, a couple more games that I've been playing kind of on and off, one more than the other. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the Old Master skin for Darth Maul and the Farm Boy skin for Luke and the Princess skin for Leia.
Nice.
And now I'm done. I got done with things because all of those need 5,000 kills with any hero on either dark or light. So what's nice about the Farm Boy and the Princess skins are you can get them at the same time because they both require 5,000 kills. But as long as you play as any hero, then you can kill anybody and then get both of those concurrently.
Okay.
Yeah, but Old Master is a little bit more difficult because, if whatever mode you play depends on the timeline or the mode. So, for example, if you were to play co-op, which is just against bots, those kills count against getting those skins. So you'd have to think about which person is the best for getting more kills. And I found out that some people would choose Boba Fett because he's got rockets and he can fly around, which is nice. People would choose Iden Versio because she has her alt fire, which is a grenade launcher, which is pretty nice too. I used that for a while.
Yeah.
But the actual best person to get the most kills in a single match is Emperor Palpatine because he has a chain lightning skill.
The lightning.
Yeah, and you can upgrade it so it chains more people, does more damage, and you can upgrade the lightning hand so that it reaches further. Then you're just done. Like that's it. Like he's so OP. He doesn't have any defense, so you just have to run away if you get into a firefight. But if you chain lightning at the right time, you'll get so many people and they'll all die.
That's insane.
Yeah, and on the light side, I found that Lando Calrissian is the best person to get chain kills with because he has I think it's called Deadeye, where you just auto aim at a bunch of people and then just shoot them and you get like 20 kills at once. It's so OP. And the best levels are like Jabba's Palace and what's it called? And Endor, and there's a bunch of other different levels.
Have you played the Ewok hunt mode?
Not yet. I need to.
It's so good.
I know. You're telling me about it. It's like a horror game.
It's like a horror game. It's like all the stormtroopers are holding out in this one fortified location. We're like, what the fuck we gotta do? And then the dropship comes. We're like, we gotta go. And you just hear the you hear little Ewoks screaming. You're like, we gotta get out of here. They're coming. And then we just got wiped out.
No!
You cannot see anything. It's so dark.
It's pitch black.
If you're an Ewok, it just looks like a normal map. I mean, it's dark, but
sure.
You walk around, you see everything. But if you're a stormtrooper, you cannot see anything unless you use your flashlight, and it's so scary. Oh, it's such a great mode.
Yeah, because your field of view is also kind of reduced.
It's Call of Duty Zombies. It's zombies. It's like you're playing zombies.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Because with all this Apex going on, I don't know if we're gonna have time for that, but I do want to play it still.
Yeah.
And the final game I'm playing is also technically a battle royale, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They introduced squad mode. Have you heard about that?
Really?
Yes.
There's squads now?
Yeah. So you can have 4 people in a squad, and if you win, everybody wins a crown. It's amazing.
That's cool.
We've won so many crowns together. It's so good because they have all the regular games, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of it's mostly team focused because I think there's some that are individual only. But I have seen what Fall Mountain, I think it's the one with the crown at the top you have to run towards. I've seen that once in squads. So it seems like every single map is in squads, but they do rotations and it depends on RNG. A lot of the maps are going to be similar. So we always get Night Fever or DoorDash or Gate Crash, stuff like that. We always get those kinds of maps. But we've noticed that there are some that will come in sometimes. So the one where you have to remember stuff, the logic one, where it'll flash the fruit on screen. You have to jump on the right panel, that's a common one too. Or one where you have to push the snowball down. So it's squads is a lot more fun. It's easier. It makes the entire game easier, and that is the best way to play. Because if you play the regular show, everyone's every man for themselves, right?
Yeah. So in squads. Does your entire squad have to be eliminated for you to be eliminated? Or?
No. So the way it works is when you start your match, every squad starts at 0 points, and you accumulate points by getting to the finish line first. Yeah. And as the more that the map goes on for time-wise, the less points you receive. So let's say that you're first, right? You get 59 points. You're second, you get like 49 points. But if you're 12th, you only get like 2 or 3 points, depending on 12th overall in your squad position, depending on the other squads. And you'll see like in the top right corner the amount of points that your squad has.
So you just get knocked out depending on how much points your team has.
Right. So if you get knocked out on a survival map and you're eliminated from that one, your teammates still can fight for you, and you get a position. So it'll say 12th, and it'll have a little exclamation point, meaning that like you are in a danger zone. You need to either kill people or you need to survive longer than other people to see if you can get that position. So the first match out of 12 squads, only 10 or not. I'm sorry, like what is it? Like 12 squads? Yeah, out of 12 squads, only 10 can make it through to the final. And after that, it's 7 squads, then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then you're the winner. But it depends too, because sometimes if there's 4 squads left, you might be playing tail tag, or it'll direct you to hexagon, which you have to like survive.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah,
exactly. So it really depends. Like it's fun because they always change it up. It could be 5 rounds, it could be 6 rounds total, it could be 4 rounds total. You know, and I recommend it because
that's cool. Because I have it and I played a little bit.
Tell it through your buddies, just be like, yo guys, we got to play Fall Guys. It's so satisfying.
Have you run into hackers? Because when my friends and I played, it wasn't super common, but every so often we'd see some very obvious people who were just like speed hacking, or they would fly, or like they would just do something that's clearly not meant to be in the game.
Right. So the developers have actually done a really good job where they will actually auto ban or like auto remove people. So sometimes we'll see people just floating in midair in the sky, but behind the start line. Because I think that's the game detecting that someone's cheating and then automatically putting them in like an area that no one can access. Because in the match, if you finish, you can see all the other players, right? Yeah. And then sometimes I'll cut to different players, and I'm just like, okay, let's see who's around, let's see who's left. It'll cut to some dude floating and glitching in midair, and sometimes there's 2 people. I'm like, okay, maybe that's the game's way of auto detecting hackers, and then just like dumping them to the side and waiting for the match to finish so that they're automatically out. It automatically makes their squad lose. Okay. Because you can't just kick someone out of the game in the match. You have to like leave them in the match, wait for the match to end, and then you can kick them out.
Yeah.
So this is their way of doing that. And they've said in the past that Mediatonic is the developer. They've said in the past that they have a really like quick way of detecting when people are cheating or hacking. So they usually take those people and then put them in queues that only other hackers can win against. So it's like if you got caught for steroids in the Olympics, they're going to have an Olympics just for you and other people who are on steroids. Yeah. Who's the best roided up person?
It's like that. What do you call a soft ban?
Exactly.
Like they're not preventing you from playing, but you're going to play with other people that are using the same thing.
Exactly. Cheaters.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been playing. Squads mode is really fun. It's a battle royale. There's no other way around it. Like that's what it's defined as.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna move on to news now. The first thing I want to talk about is the PlayStation Store. So a couple of months ago, not a couple of months, a couple of weeks ago, Sony announced that they are going to be shutting down the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita stores. Okay. And this was met with a lot of fan backlash because people are like, why are you closing the stores? Like, there's still a lot of people clearly that use their PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vitas. But other than that issue, it's the fact that there's a lot of digital games on these PlayStation stores that will not be available anymore for the rest of eternity, because especially the Vita, like that's the last handheld Sony console that was ever created. They're not going to be making any more mobile or like handheld consoles because they lost to Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo's king.
Switch, like how are you not going to buy a Switch?
Exactly. So there's all these Vita exclusive titles that if they close the store will disappear. And a lot of people are saying like that's what happened with the Wii. There was so many titles on the Wii, like not just shovelware, but like there are a lot of indie titles on the Wii that kind of like disappeared because only the Wii had the control scheme to be useful for that game. Or like even the Sega Mega Drive games, like there's a lot of classic old school games on that were on the Wii console that kind of just disappeared because Nintendo closed the Wii shop. And there's that gaming preservation that people are worried about. And again, as I mentioned before, there's also the fact that people still use their PlayStation 3s and Vitas. So Sony listened, they reversed it. So now they're not closing it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jim Ryan, the president of Sony Entertainment America, said basically that we initially came to the decision to end purchasing support for the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita. It was born out of a number of factors. And then he says, he goes on to say, I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for gamers to enjoyable. We continue to create cutting edge new game worlds for people. Okay, well, he's just, doing his PR stuff.
Business. So.
Yeah. So this is from the official PlayStation blog. This is a rare instance of Sony listening to fans and not, going through with something that they intended, which is interesting because Sony usually just does whatever they want, and they won last generation, so they're riding on the high horse right now. But I'm really happy that they're not doing that because I'm currently playing a PS3 game, which is Yakuza Dead Souls. It's a spin-off where you fight zombies, and that game never got ported to the PS4 like so many other PS3 games and PS Vita games. And if they were to close the store, then games like that would disappear forever. So I'm happy that they reversed the closure.
Interesting. Yeah.
So something you brought up before the podcast, Mortal Kombat's coming out tomorrow.
Yep.
Excited? We're gonna watch it, right?
So I'm not much of a fighting game guy, other than like Smash Bros. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's very
more of a party game.
It's more of a party brawler. It's not like a traditional 1v1 combo based.
Well, I mean, tell that to the people that play Melee. They'll be like, "Oh, you're wrong." Well, you know what? It's still a party game. Like,
you got Pokeballs. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've just never been into like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or any of those, Marvel vs. Capcom, any of those fighting games. But like, I have a friend who is really into that kind of stuff, and sometimes I watch him like play through like some of the later Mortal Kombat games. It seems like it's got some interesting lore. I'll just say that. Like they put some effort into these crazy backstories for these characters. So that's what I'm kind of interested in. Is like this weird world that they build where there's this tournament called Mortal Kombat where like these it's like an interdimensional competition where if humanity loses, then these weird, interdimensional, I guess you could call them aliens, get to take over the earth if humanity loses Mortal Kombat. So it's sort of a crazy storyline, which I think was just meant to be really ridiculous, like an excuse to make a fighting game in the beginning. But they've really like built out this stuff. Like all the characters have backstories. There's characters who are related to each other, and there's like twists in the story and origin stories and all that. And they're like all kind of like violent superheroes or / supervillains.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just kind of curious to see how all that plays out in the movie.
Yeah, me too. It looks really good. And, I always say this whenever a video game adaptation comes out. I hope that this is the one that will break that barrier because we've had a bad track record.
Speaking of which, I watched the Monster Hunter movie.
Wait, that came out?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
yeah. It came out a while ago, actually. But I watched it. It's clear to me that they did I don't know if it's that Paul W.S. Anderson guy.
He did the Resident Evil movies.
And Mia Jovovich is in it, of course.
His wife,
So it's clear to me that they put in enough research to make the creatures, at least most of the creatures, look true to the game. They have some characters who use weapons and things and look really similar to the game.
Right.
But the story's all over the place, and it's just, I mean, again, you could just say it's an excuse to just have action. But it's called Monster Hunter, and there's just not as many monsters in it as you would think.
No.
And yeah, it's also kind of weird where they do the video game world clashing with the real world sort of thing, where you have like characters from the real world, U.S. Army soldiers go into the Monster Hunter world. It's like, couldn't you just like, I don't know, make a cool movie about people in the Monster Hunter world? Like,
they gotta make it relatable.
Yeah,
to a few people.
I mean,
I don't know.
I guess because like Warcraft didn't do well, and Warcraft was apparently really accurate.
But it did really well in China, so they might make a sequel that is just in Mandarin. I don't know. Who knows? Like, I'm serious. Like, it could be possible.
Warcraft apparently is very accurate to the Warcraft lore. But like, apparently, it just didn't make a lot of money, at least domestically. Obviously you have Sonic, which is it's the real world clashing with the video game world. But I thought it was an endearing movie.
Right.
Then you have Detective Pikachu, which is, in the Pokemon world, but obviously, it feels similar-ish to the real world because you obviously have human characters and they make, references to things that are relatable, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see about all these video game movies if there's going to be one that'll actually be good.
Yeah, this one looks like it's going to be on the better end of it, like in more line with Detective Pikachu and Sonic, because I consider those video game movies good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like them. And we'll see what happens with Uncharted and Last of Us.
I forgot about Uncharted. Last of Us looks actually, the casting in Last of Us is pretty good.
Yeah, who's playing Joel again?
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. That's right.
He's going to be good.
I could see that.
He's the Mandalorian.
Yeah, he's the Mandalorian. He can pull off that gruff look.
Yes.
He can pull off serious. He can pull off like
the
emotional notes that a character like Joel has to play. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be good, and I think Mortal Kombat's going to be good too. We'll be watching it, and we'll give our thoughts.
Yeah.
And the final piece of news I have is the Great Ace Attorney, which is a prequel to the Ace Attorney series, is coming out on Switch. It was only released in Japan on the 3DS, and they redid all the high res textures. They basically remade it to be look better. So it's like the best looking Ace Attorney game.
Okay.
And the Ace Attorney series is coming to Steam as well. So.
I've never played any of those games. I just know of it from like memes.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, I've never touched any of those games.
I've actually played all of them. They're
really?
pretty good.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I like the series a lot. Shuta Kumi is the creator. He's great. I don't know. There's also an Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton that I've also played.
Oh, yeah, I've seen Professor Layton.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's interesting because they're kind of puzzle games, both of them, but Professor Layton's more puzzles, if anything. And Ace Attorney's more like puzzles, like what's the word? I was gonna say detective puzzles, but like you have to like think about clues and think about if what like events
solving a mystery.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
rather
more,
than putting together puzzles,
like figuring out where the pieces fit. But you do both of those things in both games. But in Professor Layton, the pieces are more like visual, whereas in Ace Attorney, they're more like text based, and you kind of have to look at all your evidence and make sure that the verdict that you're going to make is correct. But yeah, so the storyline of Phoenix Wright's pretty good. This takes place in Britain in the 1880s, I think, and Japan. So it's like what's his name? It's the dude. His Japanese name is Naruhodo Ryu. It's Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright's ancestor. So it's about him, his ancestor, his British ancestor. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. Cool. So moving on to comments and questions that we have from the community.
All right.
First comment is from Hooded Dude on our episode 161 Persona 5 Sanrio podcast, where we talked about Persona 5 Strikers. And have you heard about the Sanrio DLC that came out for Animal Crossing that sold out in like 5 minutes?
Sanrio DLC?
Well, okay, here we go. Real quick to recap, there was Sanrio DLC that it came in the form of cards. There's like 6 cards for.
So do you have to buy something?
So they're only sold at Target, and you have to buy. It comes in one pack. All 6 cards come in a pack, and you have to like touch the NFC cards to your Switch so that it'll register. So when you go to your island in Animal Crossing, it'll say, "Oh, this person moved into your town," because all 6 of the cards pertain to villagers that don't exist in the game yet, but now they do, obviously, because they're created. And all of the villagers have themes based on Sanrio characters. So
so they aren't Sanrio characters themselves.
No, they have the costumes and their houses are themed after Sanrio characters. That DLC at Target sold out in 5 minutes online. Extremely fast, and it's super hard to get.
I'm not surprised. Sanrio's huge, especially in Asia.
Yeah. But this is in the US though, because Asia has their own thing, but in the US it's sold out.
Oh, I'm still not surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello Kitty, all that's super popular.
Yeah.
Depending on the crowd.
Yeah. It's $6 for all that. So of course it's so cheap, right?
Yeah. So I'm sure there's gonna be scalpers too, obviously.
Yeah. But there's people on eBay. Not eBay. Etsy. Kind of people on Etsy have created their own versions, so you could just buy them, but they're more expensive. But because I have a friend who couldn't wait, and he's like, I need this.
Yeah, I heard it's easy to copy that too. Like if you get the cards. You can just scan it and get the code and then just make your own versions of it.
Yes.
Because I've seen videos where people do that with the lightsaber, the kyber crystals that you get at Disney World or Disneyland.
Yep.
Where you can just, because from what I understand, they give you a random one And so you get like blue, green, red, whatever. And then, but you can edit the code to make it any color that you want, and just like get any lightsaber color you want. So
yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, it's like easy to copy those kinds of things. So
yeah. And you know, Nintendo hasn't said anything about people copying it. I think they're just like, okay, well, we're still making money from the actual thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's good. But anyways, I digress. So Hooded Dude says, all right, I'm getting Persona 5 Strikers in response to Alyssa and I talking about, I haven't played Persona 5 Strikers or any Persona game.
Yeah.
So he says, all right, I'm getting Persona 5 Strikers. I don't remember most things about Persona 5, but this sounds really fun. A road trip. Yeah. So Persona 5 Strikers is made by the people that made Dynasty Warriors. It's a spin-off.
Okay.
So it's kind of like...
it's like Hyrule Warriors?
Yeah, but it's basically like Hyrule Warriors. Except I don't think it's the same battle system. I need to look at some videos again, but it takes place after Persona 5, and the whole crew is like on a road trip and during summer vacation because they're all high school students in Japan. And you go all around Japan, which is cool. And they make some Yakuza references because Atlus, the company that produced the Persona series, is owned by Sega, so they can make all these Yakuza references, which is kind of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I have yet to play the Persona 5 games, but Hooded Dude, hope you get it. Let us know what you think. I think you might have gotten it already in our Discord, and I just haven't seen it, but thank you so much for leaving the comment, dude.
Nice.
Okay, so we got a question from Dave97, aka Chariot Goblin, on our Discord, and Dave asks, what one-off games do you wish received a sequel? Personally, I think Sleeping Dogs should have received a sequel. What do you think, Jordan? I want to answer his question, but I want you to go first.
One-off games. I'm gonna have to really think about that because most of my favorite games did get sequels.
Yeah.
Or are sequels. So I have to think about that one.
Okay. Dave, I agree with you. Sleeping Dogs should have had a sequel. There was a sequel, a brief sequel called Triad Wars, which was an online MMO. It was in beta for a while, and it reused the exact same map. So, you know, shout out to RGG who also reuses their maps for the Yakuza games. So I downloaded and played that beta, Dave, and I absolutely hated it. It just felt weird. It was like imagine playing a Yakuza game and in Kamurocho, and you see a bunch of other people, and it's not the same. Like, I don't know, the way that they tried to make it an MMO just didn't work out, and because there was like a gang system, and there was like some parts that were like RTS kind of, and it was really confusing what you had to do. But dude, I love Sleeping Dogs so much. There's still a movie that's supposed to be made with Donnie Yen, but he's getting old, so maybe they might have Simu Liu be Wei Shen. So for those that don't know, Sleeping Dogs is a game produced by distributed by Square Enix, but produced by I forget, they're like a Canadian studio. But I remember getting it in 2012 when it first came out. Do you remember I told you about it?
Yeah, I remember watching you play it.
Yeah, I loved that game back then. I still love it now, and I wished it got a sequel. But because that studio made that MMORPG, they went under because it didn't do well, even though they made money off of Sleeping Dogs. Yeah, dude, I love Sleeping Dogs so much. The story is really good. There's a lot of callbacks to like Triad movies, and especially John Woo movies. There's like a whole hospital scene that's just an entire callback to Hard Boiled, which is a famous John Woo movie from like 1992. Yeah, dude, I agree with you there. But to answer your question, that's not Sleeping Dogs, because that's a really good one. Oh man, this is hard.
Tough choice, yeah, because like a lot of my favorite games of all time are sequels. Like like Borderlands series.
Yeah, Borderlands 2 is a lot better than 1.
Yeah,
for sure.
And Borderlands 3 is basically just like, it's like 2 with, it's better in game mechanics than 2, but worse in story than 2.
It's DLC.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, like 2 is the best. And then I really like Risk of Rain 2.
Right.
I would still say Destiny 2 is one of my favorite games, even though I kind of burnt out on it. And then Path of Exile is one of my favorite games, but that's getting a sequel, sort of. Overwatch is getting a sequel.
Yeah.
So
you got to dig deeper. You got Jordan. You got to dig deeper.
The only one I could think of, which is a weird choice,
Sure.
is Gary's Mod. Imagine a Gary's Mod 2, which you think like Gary's Mod doesn't really need a sequel, right? Because
Sure.
you can do anything. But imagine Gary's Mod with like much better graphics. You know, and like maybe
Source 2 or Source 3.
or maybe improved mechanics, some kind of improved
Yeah.
mechanics, some improved quality of life. You know, make it more accessible to people who
Right.
don't know how to mod or whatever.
Right.
Like that'd be kind of cool if they brought Gary's mod, made a Gary's mod 2 that had more stuff to do in it. Because I was actually talking to our cousin about that, because we used to play it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just a ridiculous game. It's Roblox, but not as kiddie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could just kind of do anything. Yeah,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know, that's the only one that came to mind. Is the only game I can think of that's it's weird because it's kind of a game made up of games. But it would be kind of cool if they made an improved version of Gary's mod. And
I see.
yeah.
For me, I'm going to say Judgment, which is a spin-off technically of the Yakuza series. I want them to make a sequel. It's an open world game. Because the Yakuza series, Jordan moved on to turn-based combat instead of brawler combat, real-time brawler combat. But the Judgment series is still, I believe, still doing brawler combat. They have not mentioned a sequel. I hope they do. I want them to make a sequel. So I don't know if that is a validating answer, Dave. I'm trying to think.
I'm gonna bring up my Steam library right now just to look.
Oh wow! Oh okay.
It's mostly because I've played so many games that it's.
But what about stuff that we used to play when we were younger, like Genesis or N64 or GameCube games?
I feel like a lot of those got remakes or sequels though.
That's true.
I'm trying to think. Yeah,
that's true.
Because we used to play a lot of Sonic. We used to play a lot of Mario.
Yeah, because we can't say Sonic Adventure 2 because technically Sonic Heroes is Adventure 3.
Yeah, but I mean, it would have to. The question is about a one-off game,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it would have to be a game that, like, I'm just looking at my list, and almost all of these have sequels. Killing Floor 2. Monster Hunter is a sequel. Divinity Original Sin 2 is a sequel. No Man's Sky, I feel like it's too early, and No Man's Sky is already being developed, or continuing to be developed, so it's. I can't really ask for a sequel for that.
Yeah.
Terraria. Terraria 2.
That's a good one.
Would be legit if they brought it to like 3D somehow.
Yeah.
That would be legit. Because Terraria, for like those who don't know, I mean, it's a big game, so most people probably know, or not big in the sense of like, well, it's an indie game obviously, but it's pretty popular. But for those of you who don't know, it's like a side scroll. It's kind of like Minecraft. You can compare it to Minecraft because it's like, you spawn on a randomly generated world and you craft a bunch of stuff, but it's got so much more in-depth, like, dungeon crawling aspects, I guess you could say, because there's like bosses and there's monsters and there's villages with NPCs and like quests sort of that you can kind of go on. There's like, you can go all the way down to the depths of the underworld and fight a giant monster, and like, it's just, there's a lot more to it. So that'd be kind of cool. Terraria 2 would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So there you go, Dave. I hope that answers your question. Do you want to say another game, or is it okay to move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think that's
if it comes to you, we can
Most of
answer
these-
it
I
later.
mean, either the games are too recent to warrant a sequel, or
Sure.
they are sequels. So there's not really much else I could say.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. So we have two more questions here. Well, I guess comments, questions. So one from Hooded Dude, and Hooded Dude asks, what game would you erase from your mind to replay again, aside from Yakuza 0? You know me too well, Hooded Dude, and I know that's probably also Elisa's choice as well. And then he goes on to say, what price would a next-gen system have to be for you to get one, assuming they were available? Also, does it suck that Judgment PS5 version is not free for owners of the PS4 version? ? Yes. Or yes. I found that out today. Okay, so there's multi-parts here. So the first one, what game would you erase from your mind to replay again?
So the one that first came to my mind, but I don't know if it's really my top pick, was BioShock, the first BioShock.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Because I had a really good time with that, but I played it in like high school, I'm going to say. That was a long time ago.
That came out in 2008.
Yeah, so it was high school, yeah. And I remember that being my favorite game at the time because I just thought the story was good and the game mechanics and all that. But honestly, I'd say Titanfall 2.
Ooh.
That is such a good campaign.
It is.
Like it's not even that long, sadly, but it is such a good game. Like I've been watching one of my friends play it, and I'm just like, oh, this is it's been me reminiscing. I'm like, oh, it's the time travel level.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best part.
Factory level.
That's the best.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, and like all you play as the different Titans. It shows you all the different mechanics and different guns, and there's like a the characters are actually interesting. Well, the main character you play as is kind of like, generic soldier man.
Yeah.
But there's BT, who's the Titan, and he's just a robot, but you develop feelings for him. You care about him.
There's so much attachment to BT.
And it's just like, oh, it's such a good story. And I wouldn't even call it like an original story per se. But like, I don't know, it's just well done, and it's just a well done game mechanically. Like, in terms of game design, they're really good about like showing you an interesting mechanic, and then it just disappears, and then a new mechanic comes up, and it's like you never get burnt out on a mechanic, or you get tired of a mechanic, where it's just like again, small minor spoilers. There is a map or a level that involves time travel, and it is really, really interesting how they do it, and then it never comes back again, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it kind of fits the story that it would only be involved in that area, and then you kind of just move on from that, and you just focus on other mechanics, and it's like there's always a new mechanic or a new scenery, and it's just like they do a really good job of not making it feel boring at all. There's always something new around the corner, and it's just super interesting. And again, I don't know, the mechanics are great, the characters are great, the story's great, the graphics is great. Like it's probably top tier for me in terms of campaigns. Titanfall 2.
It's a shame. Awesome. It's a shame that game got shafted by Call of Duty.
Yeah, and it's also EA, right? So like, why'd they release them at the same time? Like, it's so
to shaft them. I don't know. Like that.
Yeah, and Battlefield also came out around that time.
Yeah,
so it's just like everyone was competing.
And sadly, more people played Call of Duty and Battlefield. However, Titanfall 2 still did well, all things considered. I mean, they made Apex, and now they're making Titanfall 3 supposedly. So we'll see. I
hope Titanfall 3 has a campaign, because I don't know. I didn't touch the Titanfall 2 multiplayer. Well, I played it way after release, so I don't think many people were playing it anymore. But like, I would jump into Titanfall 3 just if there's a campaign.
Yeah, I feel it. For me, I'm going to say Luigi's Mansion, the original one, because that game is such a treasure. And if I could erase that one from my mind and replay it again, I would do it. Because it's a launch title for the GameCube, and the music is memorable. The characters are fun. The ghost designs are the best, in my opinion, of all three games in the series.
Yeah. I feel like they expand on it with the sequels, but it's like the sequels will always have things that you've seen before.
Yes.
And there's nothing like that first experience where you're like, what is this game?
Exactly.
This game is so creepy.
Yeah. And that music will never leave my head. It's so memorable,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great.
Mario!
Yeah, exactly. Hooded Dude, hope that answers the first part of your question. What price would a next-gen system have to be for you to get one, assuming they're available? So,
a next-gen system.
Which one would you get, first of all? He's not saying.
I'd probably get the PlayStation.
Same.
Just because of the game lineup. I don't know. Nothing really interests me with Xbox.
We didn't really grow up as Xbox kids.
Yeah, I mean, there's Halo, but a lot of the stuff coming for Xbox is going to be on PC because it's Microsoft.
I feel like they're slowly moving towards software instead of hardware, because the hardware is just a computer. Well, I mean, technically all consoles are computers.
Yeah, all consoles are computers,
right.
Yeah. But I'm just not that interested in Xbox. But then PlayStation has a lot of exclusives, so I don't know. I guess I'm more interested in PlayStation. But to answer like what price I would want, preferably for a console, like 500 is probably max.
Yeah.
But like some of these go up to like 800. I'm like, that's a lot. I'd rather just buy new parts for my PC.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with Jordan, Hooded Dude. Definitely PS5, and if it was 500 or less, maybe 550, 600. That would be my max. But anything above that, no, that's too much money. And I know the PS5s go for a lot of money these days, and rightfully so. They got really cool specs, and I don't know, it looks cool. I guess you pay big money for a big console because it's pretty big. Yeah. But yeah, PS5 is one on our list. If you can't already tell, Alyssa is also a Sony fanatic. That was her console growing up. She has all the Sony consoles. So
nice.
Yeah, she would also say PS5 if she were here. And then the final question: does it also suck that Judgment PS5 version is not free for the owners of the PS4? Yes or yes? Yes, I agree. Yes, the second yes, not the first yes. Cool. And our final question is from Alyssa.
Okay.
She asks, if you had to take a tourist to one place in the Bay Area, where would it be?
Ooh.
Anywhere in the Bay Area.
Anywhere in the Bay Area.
I want to say Pacifica, because I really like the hikes, and it just feels like a sleepy little town near the coast, and it's got that Taco Bell, which is awesome.
Yeah,
you can go to the beach, you can go
true.
hiking, you can explore and the little bit of the forest there. Yeah, it's a good hiking place, good photography spots.
Yeah, I'll go with Golden Gate Park
Nice.
because there's a lot to do in Golden Gate Park. Like, it's huge.
Yes.
There's there's a Japanese tea garden you could go to.
Yeah.
There's like 2 different museums. There's a MoMA and the Academy of Sciences, which I've been there a couple times and I really like it. And they also have like this nightlife thing. If you go there on I don't know if they do it now because of COVID, but they normally have like this nightlife stuff at the museums. And there's like a Ferris wheel in Golden Gate Park now too. And there's like a lake. You can go paddle boating.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a picnic. You can go for a jog. There's like sometimes they'll have like festivals there, activities and things like that. So, and it's it's just weird to see this whole like foresty area in the middle of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there's just obviously lots of places to eat and stuff nearby. So, I'd pick Golden Gate Park.
Yeah, and there's also Buffalo.
Oh yeah, the bison.
Yeah, and then there's a archery range as well.
Oh yeah.
And then there's homeless people, which is also cool.
Oh, and ghosts.
You ghosts and homeless
Yeah.
people. So you guys don't know.
There's a ghost cop and a ghost mom.
Yeah,
And-
you guys will have to do your own research there. We're not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
You guys figure it out yourselves. Go Google it. It's kind of funny. No, well, I guess it's not really funny. It's more like, why? Well, okay, this is like a thing that exists. But I mean, there's haunted places everywhere in every city, right?
Yeah.
Golden Gate Park is just.
It's on the some of the ghost stories on the official Golden Gate Park website. So
Yeah. Well, there you go. Hey, there you go.
they endorse, or not endorse, but they
They
it's there.
acknowledge
They
that
acknowledge
it
it. Yeah,
happened.
they
They
acknowledge it.
acknowledge that it's
They
there.
acknowledge the ghost stories.
I know this isn't part of the question, Alyssa, and thank you for asking the question, Alyssa, Hooded Dude, and Dave. Your questions, I mean. I would also take someone to Chinatown. I think that's really interesting because it's one of the oldest Chinatowns in the United States. The oldest dim sum restaurant, I think, in the United States is at Chinatown. I went there. It's like it was built in like 1901 or something before the earthquake and the fire. So that place is really good. And another place I would take someone to Pier 39, just because it's like, I don't know, some people might want to go, like, depending on who I'm taking, they might want to be like, oh, I want to see somewhere really touristy. And it's like, okay, we're going to go here. Like, I want to see, you're going to see the seals. You're going to see, like, all the tourist shops. There's Bodines. There's that, like, mini donut place. If it's Christmas, there's a giant tree. And then if you want to hike somewhere, you can go to Coit Tower,
Yeah.
And
The pier in general. Yeah. There's a lot. Oh, like Fisherman's Wharf.
Exploratorium.
Yeah. Exploratorium is there. There's a lot of good, like, if you're into the Instagram picture stuff, like, there's a lot of good scenery on the pier area.
Yes.
Like, there's that one area where it's just like a really long bridge or a really long dock or pier or whatever you call it, where people like take pictures. Sometimes they put random artwork out there that's like temporary and they move it. But yeah, like, that's a really good spot too.
These are also really good date spots, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, well, when you get vaccinated and you're allowed to see people,
Exactly.
go out to these cool places.
Yeah.
I've actually been on a date in Golden Gate Park.
Oh, really? How'd that go?
We went to the museum. It went well.
Wait, was this recently?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was like 2019 before COVID.
Okay.
It didn't work out in the end, but that first date was pretty good.
Okay,
It led to more dates.
Living
Ultimately,
proof. There you go.
It didn't work out, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Everybody. Yeah. Thank you guys for submitting your questions. These are really good questions. If you'd like to submit another question, you can go to our website, www.downtime.live. You can submit a question there. Click on the contact form, fill it out. It'll send a message to our email, which we'll read on the podcast. You can also send us an email with a comment or question the old-fashioned way, contact@downtime.live. Again, that's contact@downtime.live. If you send us an email and leave us a comment or question, we'll read it on the podcast. We've gotten a few spam emails, which is kind of dumb. It's just like some person asking, I don't know, like, I can post a blog post on your website. I'm like, I don't know who you are. If you want to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts / iTunes, you can. You can write us a review. We'll read it on the podcast. We are now on Spotify, Google Podcasts. We have been on Stitcher and Podbean for a while. leave us a comment wherever this podcast is hosted that you can post a comment, and we'll find it. We'll read it on the podcast. If you'd like to communicate with us, if you want to join our fun little community on Discord, you may. If you click on the Discord link, or I guess the word Discord, wherever this podcast is allowed to have links on, YouTube is one that comes to mind, or Spotify. If you want to click on the link to join our Discord there, we talk about video games, movies, media, anything. We have like little chat sections for any of that stuff. So come on by, join our Discord, say what's up, and follow us on Twitter at Downtime.Live. We also have a Steam group if you guys want to play games with us, and we have a Twitch that's kind of inactive, but maybe we'll boot it back up again. And yeah, so that was it. Thanks again for joining today, Jordan.
Yeah, of course.
This is fun.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to Downtime Podcast, episode 163. Have a good night.
Good night.